Hello everyone, this is Cody Lee of BlackCatBooks.org, author of I, the Dragon, Cruel and Beautiful, Rabbit Hole, and King Dio. And I am the newest member of the No More Heroes 3 Club. That's right, I have just beaten No More Heroes 3. And by just beaten, I mean beaten it 5 hours ago, and I immediately took it out of the cartridge, took it out of the Switch, and started playing Dragon Quest XI, which is also a great game. I basically think I said everything I wanted to say about the game on stream, but I legit was pulling like 6. I legit just pulled like a 7-hour stream playing the game. Did a 10-hour stream the day before. Most people don't know what my thoughts are on this. Like I haven't gone like super in-depth talking about No More Heroes 3 on the channel yet because I've been too busy playing it. I haven't been paying attention to the Pretendos or the VTards or Niche Gamer or like gaming YouTubers or whatever conspiracy theory are going out there around the game because I was too busy enjoying Suda's latest masterpiece, and I do mean masterpiece. Now that I've actually played the game from start to finish, I can tell you that this is a game that stands on par with the original. Now, is it better than the original? Yes and no. In a lot of ways, the original is one of those games that can't really be replicated. It can't really be topped because it's so unique and different from everything else that exists that you can't really make a sequel to it. You know what I mean? It's kind of like you can't do the same thing again and get the same impact. You know what I mean? So when it comes to like something like No More Heroes, it's kind of difficult to make a follow-up entry. No More Heroes 2 tried. You know, it had like the basic formula down where you have like Travis going up against like unique bosses to like climb the ranks, but like it didn't have the same impact, it didn't have the same feel. It had some minor improvements in the graphics and gameplay department, but generally speaking, No More Heroes 2 was a step down from the original. I am happy to report that No More Heroes 3 is not only a step up from the original, step up from No More Heroes 2, it's probably a lot better than the original when it comes to like its production values, its boss fights, its combat, its general gameplay loop, upgrade system, enemy design. Basically everything gameplay related in No More Heroes 3 is radically improved from the first three games if you can include Travis Strikes Again. In fact, I would be remiss if I didn't suggest that this is by far the best playing No More Heroes game because I played this thing all the way through the end, like, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours at a time, right? Never once got bored of it. You're always coming to a completely new original boss. You're always having to learn new patterns. The bosses are challenging. They're unique. They have a lot to offer. Combat is a lot more complex than it's ever been. Like, from a pure action game standpoint, the game is stellar. In fact, I went ahead and already declared it better than anything Platinum Games has produced in years. And now that I finished it, I stand by that statement because seeing Travis just be himself, like seeing Suda just create this world and this atmosphere, this vibe, and just seeing them like just doing goofy shit like shooting alligators with cannons or getting into a JRPG battle, like it just feels very fresh and very original. They really went all out with this one. Like, I have very, very few complaints about this from a gameplay perspective. Like, the mini games are the best they've ever been. The combat is great. The gameplay is great. Now, does that extend to the story? And honestly, like, I'm so conflicted about the story itself because the story, unlike the original, kind of at this point, I think a lot of people had very, very high expectations for No More Heroes 3 because, we got No More Heroes 1, with the notorious anticlimax ending, like cliffhanger ending. See you for the sequel, and then we got No More Heroes 2 with the shitty which had a shitty plot all around. It wasn't nearly as compelling as the first. 3 is a bit more weird in this sense, where like it feels like it has a lot of really good moments that are like really, really disjointed and don't really fit together all that well. Like it's kind of weird in that respect. Like we all know the trailer, right? Where like the little alien comes down and like the kid befriends him and like he sends them on their way, and then he comes back like 20 years later and he wants to take over the planet, and you're immediately just like, okay, why? You immediately see this and you're just like, okay, why? What's their relationship like? Who is Fu? What happened to him? Why is he treating Damon like shit? You have this you get this really, really good, unique premise right off the bat, and in a weird way, you never really get anything out of it. It's kind of bizarre. Like both Damon and Fu are terrible people for different reasons, and yet the game just shows them being terrible people as Travis is like climbing the ranks. Fu is like kind of an interesting villain because there's no real clearly defined reason why he behaves the way he does, why he's like calls Damon his friend, even though like he treats him more like a servant, more like a slave, why he like takes over the planet, why he does all this shit. But he's such a savage. He does such a great job like selling the savage like alien invader role. You end up not giving a shit. Like confronting him at the end like is legit the most satisfying I think I felt during any No More Heroes game, because this is the first time where like you really confront the final boss and really feel like you're accomplishing something. Like in No More Heroes 1, you sort of had that like ridiculous twist ending, and then you got like that another twist ending and another twist after that. You know, like Darkstar getting I am your father, getting axed by Jean. You know, Jean dies, and then like you unlock the true ending, and then you get the Henry fight. Like Fu isn't really like that. Like Fu is kind of established very early on as being like the end point. It's a better No More Heroes 2 in a sense. Like Fu is like there being evil and you have to kill him, and that's really all you need. Like that's kind of my feeling regarding the story, right? Like it is an excuse plot. It is a justification for Travis to go out, fight some more assassins, kill some aliens, and just have a great, fun, new adventure. And that's really all you need out of a video game plot. Like, I have to say that, like, this game stands in stark contrast to Psychonauts 2, which I think was kind of limited by trying to, harken back to the old days too much, like, rely on your nostalgia, like not really grow the formula at all. No More Heroes 3 feels radically different than the original in a lot of ways. Even when like it's directly referencing it, there are sequences that like that directly pull from it, like Destroy Man. That bit where he comes back is legit just him. A lot of those lines almost feel like they could have been reused from the original Destroy Man. It was kind of weird in that respect, kind of odd. Kind of an odd decision, but like, and there are things that kind of make you like raise your eyebrows a bit when it comes to that kind of content. But it really makes up for it. Like I think towards the end, it really just becomes its own thing and really kind of establishes its own identity, and it really established itself as a all-time great Switch action game. I think I really enjoyed it. From start to finish. There are things I think that might irk some fans, some longtime fans. For one thing, the thing I'm noticing, the thing I brought up a lot during my streams, was the discussion over like how some of the minor characters are utilized. Characters like Bad Girl, Shinobu. Like a lot of us were thinking that like they would be playable or play a larger role in the plot. No. What happens is like Badman fucking dies and Bad Girl just fucks off in her room like the entire day, the entire game, and Shinobu ends up getting her arms ripped off and has to go under like intense surgery for like the vast majority of the game and comes back near the end. Like it would be easy to just say that like, oh man, this is a wasted opportunity. These characters could have done more. They could have been more involved in the plot. They could have been more engaging. But really, when you do see these characters, when you do see them interacting with Travis and interacting with each other and sort of being involved with the plot and sort of doing their own thing, like you really, in a weird way, sort of end up really attached to them more than I think you ever expected to be. Like Bad Girl, I think, is a good example of this. Like I went from thinking like she was kind of treated like kind of a missed opportunity in recent years. She didn't have that much of a role in Travis Strikes Again, even though she was like heavily promoted and stuff like that. Like I felt like they could have done a lot more with the character. I felt like I really wanted her to be like a major part of the plot. But the game does do a really good job of just building up her character to the point where like you really do feel kind of bad for her in the end. Like this is a bitch who just spends all of her free time watching anime and drinking beer. Like like you like the girl. She's charming in her own way. She's kind of like Travis, like a female Travis. It's great. I love Travis a lot. I love Charlotte a lot. Like the game really did a good job selling me on that character. Now, there are other characters that are utilized like somewhat questionably. Like they brought Kimmy back, they brought Destroy Man back, and both of those I felt like kind of missed opportunities. Like Kimmy's introduction, Kimmy was I don't want to call her shit exactly, but I don't know, pop star really. Like she became like bigger than Taylor Swift in between No More Heroes 2 and 3. Really, she went from like shy schoolgirl to like a fucking thought. Unbelievable. And you fucking kill her on stage in front of all of her adoring fans. Like it's just, I don't know. It felt a little bit too. I don't know. Kimmy deserved better than that, I think. Kimmy deserved a better comeback than that. Like, another rematch, really? Like, Shinobu never had a rematch with Travis. She didn't need it. She became, like, a core part of the cast. Like, Bad Girl hasn't fought Travis. Like, why was Kimmy given the shaft? Like killing her again? Really? When there's a fucking alien invasion? Like, the characters don't act like there's an alien invasion half the time. Like, it's like they're sitting around like talking about like Miike movies and like talking about anime and just doing all this crazy shit. But I mean, it's charming. It's really like relatable in a way. It really makes you like the characters, but at the same time, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But again, that's kind of what makes it charming. Like from a story perspective, I think we were expecting like something grand, something spectacular, something grandiose, but really we just got like a lot of goofy shit, like interspersed with like surprisingly dark moments, like surprisingly compelling stuff that nobody saw coming and nobody can really make sense of. It reminds me a lot of like the original in that respect. I suppose the original didn't really make a whole lot of sense with like the whole like ending. It's like, I'm your twin brother, and then we finally get an explanation about like Henry's backstory, which kind of raises even more questions, bizarrely, that are probably also never going to get answered. I don't know, like, Henry was fucking awesome in this. We have to say this right now, because I heard a lot of backlash from people saying they're not going to buy this because, like, Quentin Flynn isn't in it. Big mistake. Henry's, like, cooler than this than he's ever been. I love Henry. Like, Henry is, like, Mr. Sir Henry motherfucker, never went anywhere. He's completely different in this game, but I kind of love it. Really love it, in fact. There are a lot of lore things to unpack with this game, because like at first glance it feels kind of like it's a lot like the original, where it kind of feels like very shallow on the surface, but has like lots of really deep, lots of really deep meaning behind it. Like sort of like the whole like Kamui thing. Kamui's in this game. If you played the Silver Case. There are like some references to other things. No Killer 7, unfortunately, which was a huge disappointment. I don't know what Suda was thinking with that one. I mean, I guess maybe he couldn't get the rights to the characters, but like I was really pleased with everything. Like, there were some things I personally would have done differently. Like, if this really was, like, meant to be, like, the send-off for Travis, I wouldn't have, like, ended it on another sequel hook. I wouldn't have done that. I would have, like, really given the characters, a proper send-off. It doesn't really feel like a send-off to me. It feels like, oh, yeah, we're just gonna chill until something else happens. Talking about Miike movies, probably. I don't know. Like, there are things in the game that just feel kind of slapped together, but it kind of works. It's very much like the first game in that regard, and in a lot of ways, like, This is the sequel I was looking for. This is a game that I feel like really lives up to the original. Now, do I think like it has like the same thematic impact the original does? Not really. Like the original was like really big on like gamer culture and like kind of a good reflection on like what we do and like how we live our lives and stuff like that. It was very, very compelling for that reason. No More Heroes 3 feels more like Suda commentating on like the gaming industry or as a whole, and superhero movies and stuff like that. Like it doesn't feel like it has the same impact. Like it feels kind of gimmicky in some ways. Like there's a horror game section which isn't very well done. I mean, it's not bad or anything, but it's not nowhere near like Suda's other work. There's not a whole lot of. There are points of this where like you kind of feel like, yeah, maybe they could have done this a little better or fleshed this out a little more or given this a little bit more personality. There are moments like that. There are times where I kind of feel like, yeah, maybe this game could have been more than what it is. But at the end of the day, I don't really mind that much, because at the end of the day, I very much enjoyed my time with No More Heroes 3, and I would recommend it not only to No More Heroes fans, I would recommend it to almost anyone, because this game was an absolute treat from start to finish.